day, everyone. I hope you are. And today, as you can tell by the title of the video, showing up on those 1% days. Everyone, I know for sure, everyone has had this feeling. Um, I'll start tomorrow. I'm feeling incapable of doing this. Waiting for the perfect day or perfect time. Well and truly, the perfect time does not exist if you really think about it. Losing motivation once you've started and just staying consistent, just showing up on those 1% days, like 1% energy. Um, so, for me personally, it's just one area that I would like to cover is when I came back from PE. PE was a lot. Um, I'm grateful I took the trip to PE and I left there feeling motivated. As much as I felt motivated, once I came back, I was a bit unmotivated, if I can put it like that, because I came back and like, I'm gonna do all these things. I have so many opportunities in front of me. Let me go for the kill. But then I came back on the Saturday, Sunday was church, then Monday I woke up, I was like, I'm gonna do everything. Then didn't do anything at all. Then Tuesday I was like, I'm gonna do it. Still didn't do anything. Wednesday came, same thing, didn't do anything. And then I spoke to the community group that I'm part of, and I spoke to them about it. Like, I feel unmotivated ever since the season started. Not the season started, ever since the season ended. So that was like September, and now it was late November already. And the things that I needed to do was like build up my fitness again, because I hadn't done anything fitness wise ever since the season ended, which was 2 months. Um, Work on the weaknesses that I saw in my game. So it was mainly my ball control for hockey. There was nutrition notes that I had to do. Uh, just didn't have the motivation to do those. And there was books that I wanted to read, and I actually want to start reading the Bible during that same time. Not start for the first time, but go back to reading it again. Um, didn't do any of those things, and I spoke to everyone like, this is what's going on. I don't have the motivation. I don't feel like doing this thing. And it was quite tough, and we worked through it. And eventually, the next day, like in the afternoon, I was like, yeah, I have to start with something, even if it's small. I started by just creating a schedule. No, for my ideal day, like I knew while I was creating that schedule, I don't want to be a perfectionist and stick to it to the T, but it's more of I stayed at home long enough to know where my cognitive times are. So for me, it was basically the morning when I wake up and just after dinner, before I go to bed. Those were the times that I knew. Those are my best cognitive times. So I obviously planned my work schedule around that. And then afternoons are more active sides. So I did that. And then that was Thursday, Friday, then Saturday and Sunday I had other stuff to do. Then Monday rolled around and I actually started. And just before that on Thursday, I obviously listed the things that I wanted to do here and a couple of other things. Then I started on Monday. For the first 2 weeks, my motivation was like a wave. Sometimes I'm high, riding on a high cloud. The next minute, I'm in a pit. Like, I don't feel like doing this thing at all. But I just kept pushing through. Like that Monday, I got everything done. The Tuesday, same thing. Wednesday on the floor, don't feel like doing anything. Thursday, bit shaky. Friday was shaky. Then the next week I was like, let me go again, because I remember the Monday and Tuesday were wow. So surely I can repeat those days again. I just kept going for those first 2 weeks. Just kept going. Eventually there was a bit of consistency, and those 2 weeks that were a bit shaky eventually turned to December. Late December I took a break because my mom was here. But December, most of December, I was just pushing through everything. January, I was on fire. And then February was a bit shaky month. And then March was also, March has just ended. So March was actually a good month. So now it's just staying consistent. Still, those 1% days still pop up. Like I had one when I was writing the notes for this video. It was a 1% day. It was more of a 1% week actually, because it's school holidays, my brother's around, I don't feel like doing anything because I'm used to being alone at home. And now that there's people around, I'm like, I'm not comfortable as I normally am. So it's just pushing through that uncomfortable part of me. And I'm starting to enjoy the compound effect of just pushing through those 1%. Even if there's small things I need to do, I move through it. And eventually I've moved on to bigger and better things by me pushing through those 1% days. Why do we need to push through those 1% days, you may ask? It reveals what's in control, your feelings or your discipline, well and truly. Because, as I said, progress is a exponential graph. If you know exponential graph, it starts off flat and it slowly starts picking up. Slowly, and then eventually it's really like there's a curve and it just goes. Once it starts going, that's when you need to keep your foot there and just keep going. And I'm not saying that it's gonna be perfect. This is life. There's gonna be ups and downs, but the general direction that you want that graph to go and your progress graph to go is up. The higher it goes, the better for you. And that builds your identity. Like reps, either resistance, that builds your identity. You have confidence in that now because you know I pushed through 1%, a 1% day tomorrow. Tomorrow might be a better day and I can do so much. It could be a 50% or 60% day in terms of energy, and you'll do so much more. And your calling doesn't wait on your confidence. You're waiting for confidence to do something. It's kind of in reverse because you get action from doing. I mean, you get confidence from doing. Yeah, you get confidence from your action. So you pushing through that, you gain confidence, and confidence, your calling is also not dependent on your confidence. It's dependent on your action. So if you push through that action, you will reap the rewards. Like Moses, yes, he may not have made it into the promised land, but he was not confident at all in what he was doing and what God told him to do. Like he killed someone and ran away, and eventually God met him and like, I want you to take my people out of Egypt. And he even said to God, I don't feel worthy. I am my speech. I'm incapable of like convincing Pharaoh to let the Israelites go. And even said, rather my brother do it because I'm not that good at speaking. And sometimes I do feel like Moses. Speaking is not my strongest um, area. Yes, yeah, I'm out here making videos, but so be it. Um, Delaying also won't help you. Delaying what you need to do only increases pressure because there's that thing at the back of your mind that you know, especially if you have a tight deadline. There's something that I have to do, but I'm not doing it, and I should be doing it. And you need to do it, otherwise, you're just building pressure upon yourself. And in the Bible, we also have someone that decided, now I'm not going to do what God told me to do, I'm going to run the other way. That's Jonah. Decided to run the opposite direction of where he was told to go. And eventually God was like, no, come back and you're gonna do what you were told to do. Went through the whole big fish, and we all know the story. He went through that, and eventually he fulfilled his purpose. And how to execute on those days. I can relate, like, as I've said, those 1% days can be 1% weeks. And reducing the standard, it's not about performance on these days or weeks. It's more about presence, just showing up. Show up imperfectly. Do not be a perfectionist during these times. Just show up, do the small tasks, cut them down. The key is to start, not finish big chunks. Yes, you want to finish something, but you want to finish smaller tasks. It's about showing up consistently, because that's going to build your identity at the end of the day. And then growth is going to follow that action. The more you do, the more you grow, well and truly. And also remove internal negotiations. Like, maybe today, maybe not. We all know, you know, the conversation that you have with yourself in your mind. And a great way of doing that, as I said, create a schedule, create a list of things that you know that I need to do these things. If I can do these things, yeah, it's about leverage. It can be, your list doesn't have to be 10 things long. It can be like 3 things that you know. If I do these 3 things, I am going to be so far ahead of everyone, or of where I need to be so quickly, where if someone were to look at me in 3 months' time, they would be mind blown of the things that I've been able to achieve. So just finding, it could be 1 to 3 things that you need to do. Just do those things. And then practical steps, obviously creating a schedule, doing the smallest version of the task, and having routines. And not only daily routines, but like monthly routine and a weekly routine of what you're going to do. Stop relying on motivation. Stop relying on motivation, because motivation only comes from action. So you just have to do it. And ensure completion of something. Small tasks. Remember, small tasks. And one story or event in the Bible that I was like, I actually need to read this verse, because he didn't feel like doing this, but he had to. It was Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. And like, let me just read the verse, because he didn't really feel like it, but he went, obviously he left his disciples behind and he went a bit further, and he was praying on the ground, and then he said, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." Like, he really wanted to follow his father's will to the T. Yes, that meant him getting crucified. He didn't feel like doing it, but he had to do it. And here we are today. We have salvation because of that event. And him just pushing through. Not as my will, but as you will. Well and truly, you just have to push through those days. And all the best in pushing through those days. Just push through, stay consistent, and we will hear. If this video has inspired you to do the little that you can on this 1% day, just like the video and drop a comment. I want to hear your stories too. Like, give me something to but other than that, guys, stay blameless, stay safe, and I'll see you when I see you.